Hello friends, my name is Esther. You are welcome today to this lovely tutorial. How are you? To start this tutorial, we'll be drafting firstly, so let's get to our drafting table. The measurements you'll be needing is on the screen, and I'll be using 1.5 yards of fabric. So let's get started. Here I'm folding my drafting paper in half. Firstly, I'm going to mark the dress length. The dress length is 22 inches plus 1 inch seaming and hemming allowance. I'm marking 23 inches across. Take my ruler and draw a line. Next is the shoulder measurement. Half the shoulder measurement length is 4 inches plus ½ inch seam allowance. Then the shoulder slope, I'm using ½ inch. I am drafting with seaming allowance. Then for the armhole, half of the armhole circumference is 4.4 inches, that's 4.5. Chest measurement is 24 inches divided by 4, which gave me 6 inches plus ½ inch seaming allowance. I am just going to go ahead and scale according to measurements. The neck width I'm using is 2.5 inches. I'm marking it out. The front neck dip is 2.5 inches and the back neck dip is 1 inch. I am just going to scale according to measurements. The next thing is to, as for the back and the front, I've just indicated it. Before moving to the shoulder and armhole, connecting the shoulder slope. As for the armhole, I'm going to find the midpoint of the armhole, the center point, by folding my tape in half, just marking the center point, and I'm going in by ½ inch to get the front shoulder measurement, or should I say the front chest measurement. I'm curving using freehand. Get the measuring the chest measurement, that is 6.5, and I'm going to add 2.5 to it to make my lower part measurement. So that will give me 9 inches. So I'm just going to scale according to measurement. Then I'll go ahead and cut the back pattern without cutting the front neck dip. just only the back neck deep. Okay, after cutting the pattern, I am going to use this pattern and cut on our fabric. I'm going to mark 1 inch. The fabric is on fold. I'm marking 1 inch zipper allowance. I'll draw the 1 inch out before placing my pattern to cut my back pattern to cut my fabric. Just tracing it out. To go ahead and cut the back of the dress. Putting that away. Next is the front pattern drafting. From the back, I'm going to cut the front neck deep. Open it up. Find the length of my shoulder measurement, which was 2 inches. And I'm going to give a mark at a 1.4 inch mark because that's where I want my ruffles to sit. Then to the side, I'm going to mark half the side measurement. That's without the seaming allowance. Then connect the point. Sorry, my daughter couldn't wait for the dress to be ready. She's waiting for the dress. Before cutting it out, just for reference, I'm going to go ahead and find the center front of the dress and draw a line for ease. Since I'll be dividing the dress, the lower part of this dress, into 3 equal parts, so I'm just getting the center front just for reference. So here I'm going to go ahead and divide it, what I have, into 3 equal parts, and that is what I am marking. Do the same for the chest area. After placing my marking of dividing it and confirming, I'm going to use a ruler to draw a straight line indicating the division. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and separate the upper part of the dress from the lower part, which will be having inverted pleats. So the lines I marked, I'm going to separate it because I'll be putting extra pattern paper, which will give it the inverted pleats. To a fresh pattern paper, I am marking out 10 inches here. And I'll divide the 10 inches into 2, which is 5 inches each. And my inverted plate is going to be 5 inches in length. I'm cutting it out. I'm going to tap it in the middle of each part. I'm going to make sure that the down part is properly aligned. stepping the extra piece, so I would have the inverted pleat. So all I would do next is just fold it in to form an inverted pleat before cutting, to make sure that everything is in order. So here I'm tapping the second part. Go ahead and fold it in and cut it out, and you will have something similar to what I have on the screen. Marking the extra pattern piece that I used for the inverted pleats. Then I'm going to go ahead and cut it out on my fabric. Don't forget 1/2 inch seaming allowance all around. Those are the places you'll be adding seaming allowance to. And if you use 1/4 inch seaming allowance, by all means cut with 1/4 inch seaming allowance. For the flounce or the spiral, I find the center of your dress, of your piece, mark 2 inches away, like so. Just watch what I'm doing. It is important that you mark so that your flounce can come out evenly. Though at this point I'm going to use a free hand so that you see what could happen if you don't take the time to mark from 2 inches up to 3 inches. Here you are, the part that I took time to mark. You can see how it came out lovely, and the parts I used freehand, it's obvious. So without further ado, let's start sewing. We will hem the flounce all around, and after that you gather it. Make sure it's double the length measurement of your front piece, upper piece. Then attach it to your upper piece. Sew it down. After sewing it, you attach right sides together. You will place it on your lower front piece and sew together using your seaming allowance. After that, the front should look something like this. You can see it all sewn. The next will be to attach the back piece. I went ahead and cut interface. In my other tutorial, I think I've shown how I cut interface, but in case you need a detailed tutorial, just let me know. Right sides together. Join the front and the back piece at the shoulder. Do same for the interface. Or should I say the facing, the facing of the dress, all in one facing. After that, open up your dress that it was joined at the shoulder and place the facing on top of it. Please make sure to tuck in the front properly so that your flounce doesn't, your needle doesn't catch it while you're sewing. So you tuck it in. Place the facing on top of your dress and sew around the neckline. Make sure it's well aligned, and the arm holes. When sewing around the neckline, please keep the 1 inch zip allowance open. Do not sew on it, since you'll be attaching zip to it. So just sew around the neck and the armholes. After sewing, give it notch and trim a little. Be careful not to cut the seam. Trim a little where you have the double sewing. After which, turn your dress inside out. when your dress is turned inside out, it's time to attach the zip. On that 1-inch mark, you pin down your zip like so. Determine the length of your zip and complete the back seam. Just sew down the remaining part of the back after you attach your zip. It should look something like this, or close. All right, now the moment we've been waiting for. Right sides together, sew the facing to the facing and the side of the dress to the side of the dress using your seaming allowance. That's 1/2 inch for me. Hem the bottom of your dress. Then voila, your dress is ready. You can see it's all hem sewn. Please take your time, subscribe to this channel, click on the bell icon so that you get notified each time I post a new video. And I am so thankful that you watched to this part. You can go ahead and accessorize your dress the way you want it. But hey, this young girl here just wants the dress. She doesn't need the accessory. See you in another video. Bye for now.